keep your heart wide open, though the waves wanna push you around. You gotta keep your heart wide open till your faith brings you back to solid ground. I'm gonna keep my heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open. Though these waves wanna push, though they want me around, though the waves wanna push me around, I'm gonna keep my heart. I'm gonna keep wide open. I'm gonna keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me back to solid ground. Until my faith brings me back to solid ground. We gotta keep our heart. We gotta keep wide open. We gotta keep our hearts wide open. Though these waves wanna put us around, although these waves wanna push us around, we gotta keep our heart. We gotta keep wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground. Till our faith brings us back to solid ground.
Good morning. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. And we're so glad that you're here with us this morning. Our opening hymn this morning is number 347, Gather the Spirit, from the Gray Hymnal. Please feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Stand in either body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 347, which will be projected behind me. Gather the Spirit.
Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this life appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love, conscious refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy
in cyberspace for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services to our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. So I am Tinka Friend, a member of the worship committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the worship committee who make this service possible include Alec Peck, who's our music coordinator and also today's speaker, Adam Wedicking, who monitors our visual and online connections, and Kate Lewicki, way in the corner, who is in charge of our sound system. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, but with muted electronic devices, please. This community is what it is because of your presence. What you bring, who you are, enriches us all. So welcome into this space of love, support, justice, fellowship, and worship. We are glad that you are here. So we have some announcements. June is Pride Month, a month-long observance dedicated to the celebration of LGBTQ+ Pride, commemorating the contributions of lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ culture and community. Before we move into the service, there are quite a few actually announcements today. We have a lot happening at our church, which is great. We will mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers. And at the end of the service, we will leave up a slide with all of that information, and it is also available on our website. So, a big thank you, and I would like a round of applause for Kate Lewicki and her team of volunteers for all the preparation and hard work at the yard sale that was held starting with the setup on Thursday, and then the actual sale on Friday and Saturday, and then the takedown. So a lot of work. Do you have any idea how much we made? $1,200. That is great. The monthly UUCR newsletter comes out the first of every month by email and per request by postal mail for our members and friends who don't have access to the internet. If you have something newsworthy or that you would like to contribute, email uuchurchofriverside.calendar@gmail.com or call the church office at 951-686-6515. And if you would like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office. All right, book club. And again, we have Alec in the spotlight for the book club. The book club meets on the second Monday of the month at 6:30 p.m. in the annex. So the next meeting is tomorrow, June 10th, and the current book for discussion is If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Kawamura. Now, today, after our services, we will be having a congregational meeting. It will be here in the sanctuary at noon. All of those who are interested in our church, the organization of UUCR, are invited to attend. However, it's only members who are allowed to vote. But the first time that we came, first congregational meeting, we came in and sat in just to kind of figure out what happens here at this church from the organizational part. And I'm glad we did. We will be electing officers to the board, we will be approving the budget, and we will be making plans for the future of our church. So your input is important to the advancement and growth of our spiritual community. And because we know we're going to be here for a long time, and it probably will be a long time since breakfast, if any of us even ate breakfast, I didn't, sandwiches will be served for lunch before the meeting. And that was, the board took on that job. And contributions are appreciated and will be donated to the church fund. And game night is held on the second and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. in the parish hall. That's the room right there where we kind of our fellowship hall there. There are many games to choose from, and you can bring some of your own favorites from home if you have them. The next game night will be this Thursday, June 12th. So come and join the fun. There's usually, about 6 to 8 people, I guess. Sometimes we're in one game. Sometimes we put up 2 tables and and if you don't really want to be in a game, we have jigsaw puzzles, that you can put together as well. Church Council will meet on the second Friday of the month in the annex, and the next meeting will be this Friday, June 13th, at 5:30. Now, Women's Fed, that's kind of like the women's auxiliary of the church. The Women's Fed group meets on the second Saturday of the month at 1 p.m. It is open to all women who identify as female, all persons who identify as female. The next meeting will be the final meeting, and it will be a luncheon. So it's the final meeting of the 2024-25 season. It will be held on Saturday, June 14th, so it's this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. And even some of the new, some of our new attendees, you are certainly welcome to come. You don't have to be a member to participate. Yes? Oh, so the luncheon is a potluck. So if you, for instance, if you are a vegan or if you cannot eat gluten, you might want to bring something that fits into that category so you're sure that you have something to eat. Let's see, and so members will be reminded, members of the Women's Fed will be reminded on Wednesday, notices will go out. But I just want to make sure all the people here who might be interested, it is open, and come and join us. We would love to have you. Okay, and justice is a staunch component and value of not only the church here, but our denomination. And so we take that very seriously, and we feel that a great trust has been given to us, especially in terms of equity within the legal system and the government and everything else. So sort of a combination of a coordination or a blending of our worship committee and our social and environmental justice committee, we have put together something for next Sunday. We will be privileged to welcome Congressman Mark Takano, who represents our California District 41 that Riverside falls into. He is our representative in the House of Representatives in Congress, and he's going to come and speak to us on our next service, which will be Sunday, June 15th. We will hear his insights on the current political climate and events, and have an opportunity for questions and answers about the important issues that are impacting our values and our choices. So please invite those in your circles who are interested or concerned about what is happening in our communities and in our nation, and what can we do to advocate for social justice and equity. So there are flyers available in the parish hall that you can then take a group of, a bundle of them, and pass them on to invite others to attend this important service. And Alec Wedeking is going to come up.
Good morning. Yeah, our service and forum next week are really important, and they have come out of a concern from our Social and Environmental Justice Committee, seeing what's going on nationally and our concerns about what we can do here locally. Part of that, along with meeting with our congressman and hearing from him, is also getting involved in our local city council meetings here in Riverside. And so our Social and Environmental Justice Committee has created a subcommittee to work on looking at what's happening at City Council and making sure everybody here is informed of what's happening and making sure that the City Council knows about our values and our own stance on some of these issues. And so there is now, if you get a chance when you go home, on our website, uuchurchofriverside.org/justice, that's our Social and Environmental Justice Committee website, there is a link there to our City Council page. And you can get the agendas for upcoming meetings. You can also get any statements that our committee has submitted to the city about what's on the agenda, and also a toolkit if there are issues we think you might want to talk about. A little information on how to speak at city council meetings, also some notes for things to say about those particular topics. For example, this Tuesday, at our city council meeting, they will be talking about commercial solid waste rate increases. And not that we're opposed or in favor of it, but we've got some concerns here. I've got copies of the toolkit I can pass out, but again, it's online, you can check it out. So we've got some notes to talk about equity for small and minority-owned businesses when considering this rate increase, incentives for sustainable waste practices when thinking about this increase, environmental justice and impacts on neighborhoods, and transparency and making sure that everybody is engaged, inclusive engagement, right? So we have those kinds of values that we may want to bring up at that meeting. So check this out. You can grab one before you leave when you get your flyers from Mark Decano, or you can go online, uuchurchofriverside.org/justice, and check out the city council page from there. Cool, thanks.
So you may just go and listen, or if you are so moved, you can, each person who shows up is entitled to have 3 minutes to say how you feel about issues or things in general. I am often there every Tuesday or the Tuesdays when they have meetings making comments. So you can also call in. If you don't have to show up in person, you can also call in. But definitely yes, all of that is written on there, so it tells you exactly how to do it. But I just think it is really, well, I'm not the only one. We think it is really important that if we are going to honor the values that we believe in, that often we have to be the voice of the voiceless, the voice of the people who are either too frightened to speak up or unaware. And so that's why we do this. So our time together is brief, but it is filled with joy. So in that spirit, I invite you to turn to those around you, beside you, behind you, in front of you. Greet them, welcome them, and share that joy. If you're on Zoom, use the Zoom wave feature or just wave at your camera. So welcome to all of our visitors today, and welcome back to any old friends. We would love to meet with you during our coffee hour in the parish hall after service, where you can also find our visitors book, actually a tablet, where you can then enter your name before you leave so that we know you were here, and leave your contact information if you want updates on different church events and happenings. There's also a part of the format that we do often is there will be a short discussion following the service for you to share any reflections that you have about the sermon or about the service. For those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. Okay, we had a lot of housekeeping things to do this morning. So now I invite you to sit back, take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. And today's speaker is our own UUCR member, Alec Peck. And Alec has been a practicing UU for 26 years, since he was a little boy. And he has practiced with a deep passion for the intellectual and spiritual challenges of the sources of our living tradition. He was raised in a UU church, which was chosen by his father, raised Quaker, and his mother, raised Jewish, though both were humanists in practice. Alec recently spent 2 years studying natural science at Creighton University, a Jesuit institution, and is now completing his PhD at UCR Riverside in experimental cosmology. Ask him to talk about it sometime. And the description for the sermon, that sermon title is A Living Tradition. As UUs, we believe in a fluid faith, and that we must embrace change and growth and not etch our answers in stone. UUism is unique because we value the beliefs and shared humanity of all people, and because we believe that we do not have the once and for all answers. We must respond to the real demands of our world. We must respond to the intimate threats to ourselves and to our neighbors. And we must become the change that we want to see in the world. We have 2 lightings of sacred flames, which we light at the beginning of our service. The first is a remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples who cry out for justice and self-determination. And we must remember that underneath this gorgeous historical church is the unceded land of several indigenous peoples. That means it was stolen away from them. Some of those indigenous peoples, but not all, were the Cahuilla, the Luceño, and the Copeño. We light this sacred flame in their remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity. Our second sacred flame is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles. to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's chalice lighting words are connection and commitment by Cynthia Landrum. As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment. Connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other. Amen. Our hymn now is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's from the Teal hymnal, but again, it will be projected. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Now, sharing our treasure. This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may also send checks to the church address, which is shown here. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is also shown here, as well as on the church website and in the church newsletter. Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater grocery cards, which we will have in church each Sunday. Now, so let's say you buy a $100 Stater Brothers card. You get $100 value. You get to go in and use it like a debit card and get $100 worth of groceries. The church receives a small percentage of that for free, so it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps out the church. Please see Dinah Rowe or Robert Braun, who I don't see in the room right now, in the church office if you are interested in purchasing the gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. And thank you for your generosity. To those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. And to all of you who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence of being here with us. So will the ushers now please come forward to receive the collection? Also, a tote bag will go around so that if you have brought any food or hygiene items for the local community, please put them in the bag. So thank you for your generosity. Our next hymn is 1010 from the Teal hymnal. Again, will be projected. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1010, We Give Thanks. We have a meditation this morning, and it's by Lori Stewart. So we invite you to take a moment, take a deep breath, kind of relax, sit back, and if you wish, gently close your eyes. Just a moment. So I'm going to read the meditation, and immediately following, I will hit the chime, the bowl, And that is a time for you to kind of get down into yourself and to meditate on the words that were spoken, or the theme or the meaning of it as it relates to you. And then I will hit it a second time, and that then is to bring your awareness back to the room again. So here are the words by Lori Stewart. In the spirit of community and a sense of purpose in our ministry, let us commence the discovery of our strengths, our concerns, our grief, and our joy. Let this journey be one of love, authenticity, and reverence. Let us shape our lives, our work, and our days as an expression of that joy, that love, and of our commitment to service and to each other. So now let us pause for a moment of silence as we reflect on what gifts of time, treasure, or talent that we can individually offer to enrich our spiritual community. Now I would like to introduce Alec Peck, speaking to us on a living tradition.
Thank you, Tika. And because of the congregational meeting after this, I tried to keep it short. We'll see if I was successful. So, our hymnal that we just sang from a few times is titled Singing the Living Tradition. But I've noticed that we don't really say very explicitly what it means to have a living tradition as UUs. We live out our principles with and if you look at the UUA's website, they have a statement that says that we live out our principles or values with a, quote, living tradition, unquote, of wisdom and spirituality, drawn from sources as diverse as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experience. We mention this idea when we review Article 2, the article that outlines what we covenant together as a collection of churches. When I looked online, once again, I found this quote: "One of the defining characteristics of our UU faith is that of our living tradition. We do not etch our faith in stone precisely because we hold sacred that it must change. It must adapt to new challenges, it must meet new understandings, and it must evolve based on new experiences and connections." And I think in both these cases, the implications are clear. That we want something, that we want a religion and a tradition that changes with the times, that isn't static, it's responsive. We want something that's descriptive of who we are, not prescriptive of who we should be. We know that we don't have all the answers, but that we are all journeying together towards truth. As a global religious community, I think this statement is, of course, fundamentally about our relationship to truth. I want to go on a little tangent, and I promise that it will have relevance, because I've found a little personal interest in two aspects of Western esotericism. This is a tradition that studies the hidden and lost knowledge of Western traditions. And in particular, I've been studying the ideas of occultism and Gnosticism. In a ways, they're kind of two sides of the same coin. To remind you, Christians, of course, believe that there is one true Christian God, that there is a devil, and then there's all that other stuff that other people believe that's neither true nor real. And Gnostics, they believe that there's a sort of a separate layer that separates truth from reality, as in many esoteric forms of belief. And they believe in a one true Christian God, as the Christians do, and that there are many real gods and demons other than that, though. Christians believe that these other gods are evil, and believing in them is evil, but also that they aren't real. Gnostics, on the other hand, believe that believing in other gods is still evil, but that they are real manifestations. And all of this is built both historically and philosophically on the Jewish ideas of Kabbalah that came before it. And you'll recognize that word Kabbalah as something that has taken to mean something else very different in modern times. These ideas look at meanings that are hidden in numerical values of things, meanings that are hidden in the intrinsic power of the very words chosen to describe them. In modern linguistics, words mean only what we agree they mean. But in these traditions, words, expressed in the right language, have inherent, deep, metaphysical meanings which lead to capital T truth. And occultism, on the other side of that coin, also believes in these hidden meanings about metaphysics. Once again, they believe in this one true Christian God and that there are these many real gods and demons, but these gods and demons are real manifestations, exactly how the Christians thought, but the gods, and those gods are not the true God, but it's not evil to worship them. And they are just part of all the part, and they are all just these real parts of some existential truth that is God. They take these symbols and signifiers and icons of Judaism and Christianity, Baphomet heads, 666s, Hebrew characters, and even things like associating the pagan pentagram with the devil. And now there's a subtle difference, of course, here between believing in occultism and being a pagan. Whereas an occultist would believe that although these pagan ideas are somehow real, they are not true. They are not the true God. And unlike a pagan who believes that that pentagram is not a symbol of the devil, it is a symbol of that which is holy and that which is natural and holy. And I think for UUs, it's natural to wonder why they cling to these symbols and these traditions that no longer represent them. And it all comes back to this idea of existential truth and the unchanging. In our faith, we believe that we are journeying towards truth together. We believe that there is truth in all of the world's religions and truth in every person's unique perspective. Yet we also believe that we must constantly challenge ourselves to grow spiritually towards that truth. And indeed, most people, especially in the West, believe that we need to experience that which is real to know that which is true. And this is a core tenet of the philosophy of science, that what it means that what is real dictates what is true. But in this idea of esotericism, the gods can be real, and yet they are not true, because reality does not dictate truth in this form of thought. It is truth, some esoteric truth that is what dictates reality, a truth that is unchanging, because reality is unreliable. Something that constantly changes is something you cannot rely on, and something that changes cannot possibly be true. But we must be dedicated to truth. On one hand, this idea that we start at truth, capital T truth, versus the other idea that says that we are journeying towards truth. When you start at truth, we find that we must believe in this mythical past where we were most connected to the gods. Like babies and their little pure hearts, humanity was once a baby, and the first thing that we thought of must have been what was correct. My beliefs as a child are something that perhaps I would want to maintain, and coming out of my desire to maintain my very goals. But to be dedicated to truth is to be dedicated to reality. It's to be dedicated to the political reality of our country. It is to be dedicated to the realities of systematic oppressions. It is to be dedicated to realities that we were once completely naive of, and we must come to accept that. And UUism is a religion made of its people. We believe in the free search for truth, and we believe in many sources that can lead to that truth. We are naturally exposed to all these ideas about how the world works, and we nourish some of them as they come to us, and we are naturally drawn to some of these sources. And to be a good UU, I think one does not need to do any more than this. But most people on their spiritual journey, I find, are compelled to explore the many sources, to explore the broad landscape of possibility. And I think this is a righteous act for UUs to do. In high school, at the end of my bringing up as UU, I was encouraged to write a belief statement, where I had to very consciously write down what it is that I truly believed. And this is something that we should do continuously, if at least not periodically. We need to update our personal covenant, our covenant with ourselves, with our own beliefs. We need to check in on if our map of reality is still serving us well. I heard a beautiful metaphor in a book that our soul is like a garden. It is a little plot of land that we live in. And since our soul, in our soul, we have these many sensory experiences that rush into us from the outside world, reaching in as sights and sounds, ideas that come to us from these many cultural sources. They get projected into our minds and buried as little seeds into the soil of our garden. And as we walk down the pathway in our way of life, we come across these many things that we like and dislike, ideas about what is right and what is wrong. And we may, and often do, get conflicting ideas. We should be frugal, but we should think for the long term. But we should enjoy the now and treat yourself. You should honor your parents and your heritage, but we should also forge new art and new traditions. We should be respectful and accepting, but we also need to speak out against injustice. Each idea plants these seeds in our garden, and as we and the garden grow, the plants that receive our attention, that have the right conditions to thrive, are the ones that do, and the ones that are neglected will wither. We come into ourselves, and our gardens bloom, each as unique as the paths that we each took. We each walk a different way, but they are all part of the way. A different Tao, but they are all the Tao. We can expand this metaphor to even describe why we like certain foods, why we like certain music, why we value certain ideals, why we feel a need to stand up for certain causes. And not all aspects of this garden grow over time. Some of them we're born with. What kind of soil we have, how much rain our garden gets, how long you can work before you need a break. To let Mother Nature's hand take to let Mother Nature take your hand and guide your way. But gardens are predisposed for certain plants. The garden that is good for corn is not necessarily the one that is good for rice. And yet, both of these gardens will sustain you on your spiritual path. And like the garden crops, we go through cycles where some plants recede and others come to dominate. Now, as a child, I took a lot of ceramics classes. And I gotta say, when I look back at those figurines that I made when I was 5 years old, I don't remember them. I do not remember crafting them by hand, and yet I think that that still made me part of who I am today. Because the truth is that every time we remember something, we remember it a little bit differently. Every time we hum a tune, we hum that tune just a little bit differently. Because change is what we are. Living change is all around us and within us. All we know, all that we have learned from our experiences, was guided very intentionally or unintentionally by everyone around us, and we were unaware, making a complicated and interconnected web between all of us. This is our community. Every single person we have touched is part of the tapestry of our lives, and we understand the identity of others by the way that we perceive them, and we also perceive our own identity for how we perceive ourselves. Who we are depends on how we think we're being perceived, on our expectations. I behave very differently right here than I did on Friday night when I was at a nightclub. And if not for my face, you might not even recognize me as the same person. But I think both of those people are truly me, who I truly am. The social self is defined by our performance. Beauty is, of course, in the eye of the beholder, but also so are many other social traits: confidence, rudeness, and friendliness. Tradition and community is about staying true to the past. I read a blog that said, every religion paints a view that some people are unworthy of God in some way. I, of course, knew better. UUism, of course, is special in many ways. But tradition is not just about honoring the past and having a literal connection to a much bigger group. It is also about staying true to who we are. There are two questions we have to answer here. Who is the person that I want to be? What is the community that I want to be a part of? It's hard to look in the mirror and see that you are not the kind of person that you want to be, that you are not living in the kind of community that you want. And what kind of person do we want to be for the world? We sometimes get caught up in what we want and what we need in this moment and forget about the kind of person that we are, which all gets lost. And you've heard before, you practice what you preach. And I think that means that we need to reaffirm our values, not to others, but to ourselves. It is our righteous duty to go on the journey for spiritual truth, to discover what we really believe in. And we must keep those convictions with us, not as burdensome weights of shame, but as gentle reminders that we are always journeying towards a more complete wholeness. We must be able to live and laugh together as neighbors. Having a loving and trusting community is not one where no one ever gets hurt. It is not one where mistakes never happen, but it is one that when mistakes happen, we can heal and strengthen, not corrode. My most direct experience with a covenant is at UU summer camp. At the Camp Covenant, the young adults we have a camp covenant for everyone who attends, but also the young adults together make their own covenant. And what we mean by that is it's essentially a set of rules that defines what we expect, how we all want to behave there at camp together. On the first night of the week, we all agree and self-impose these rules. But these, we don't call them rules because they are not a set of commandments dictated from above by some authority. It is something that we all agreed upon about the boundaries and the expectations for what camp should be. Because we are the church. We decide what our boundaries are and what our expectations are. I think we should keep this in mind as we move forward into the congregational meeting. I won't give you any spoilers, but I know that we have to make a lot of decisions about the future of our church. And so as we go on to discuss our future, I want to thank you all for being here to go on this journey with me. It is so wonderful to be here with you and to be on this journey with you, us together. Namaste, blessed be, and amen.
Our closing hymn is number 1028, Fire of Commitment. It came from the Teal hymnal, but will be projected. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1028, Fire of Commitment.
From the light of days remember, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of the living brings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Closing words, our benediction, our closing prayer, is Be About the Work, and it's by Andrea Hawkins Camper. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do. And this is the call we must answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge. To be the living embodiment of our principles. To be about the work of building the beloved community. To be a people of intention and a people of conscience. Namaste, amen, and blessed be. We want to thank you, Alec, for sharing your valuable time and insights with us this morning. It is sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We will now have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion. You can share something that spoke to you or anything following the service for those who wish to share their thoughts and observations on today's topic. Please be aware that this will be included in the video that is posted. And for the rest of you, you are welcome to adjourn to the parish hall if you don't want to stay for this part. Would anyone like to come up and share any thoughts? Did any part of this sermon speak to you? Is there anybody here who would like to come up? Okay, Bill?
The main thing that I'm looking at is, on one hand, we want to keep our faith fluid. And yet, at the same time, there are many people in this faith and elsewhere who are looking at a utopia. The idea that we can have one pattern that's good, solid good, and that by living in that pattern, good things are done, manifest, and endure. We've got change, and we've got this hopefully enduring model, which I must confess is very hard to put into place sometimes. Here we are decades away from Martin Luther King and some other people, and we're still trying to work towards a particular goal. Alex, what would you have to say about that? Because this utopia thing has pummeled me more than once.
Do you have a response?
Well, I can't promise you a total, complete answer, unfortunately. But I think we often assume that progress is linear, that there is a natural progression from one thing to the next, that as society progresses, that we just naturally journey towards better things. But I think it doesn't take a lot of thought to see some holes in this kind of idea. We didn't invent ultra-processed food because it was the most natural, most healthy way to develop food for it. It was, in fact, a bunch of capitalist pressures that caused us to start poisoning ourselves with this garbage. And so it's not so easy to say that as society develops and becomes more complex, we naturally grow towards something better or something worse. I think I believe in the Tao, and so I believe that there is that the light, light and dark, the yin and yang, they are constantly circling each other, and so we and in that constant and we have to live in that ebb and flow of the Tao. And there isn't necessarily a supreme ultimate truth that is at the top of some spiritual hierarchy. Instead, change is a natural and inherent part of the system.
So we reincarnate and there will always be something to do when we get here.
Kind of. Do you mind if I talk on that?
Would you say your name?
Sure. My name is Sarah Cantero, and I'm actually a filmmaker in Riverside. And, I think that change is something that we have a lot of trouble accepting because it creates drama. And there's this era of toxic positivity that says drama is bad. But drama is always going to happen in life, and it's going to create some sort of change if you allow it. And I think when we have these thoughts in our mind, and we're thinking, hey, like, I don't want to think this anymore, I don't want to feel this way anymore, that also is not the best. We just have to accept them. We just have to accept our thoughts and accept the change that's coming. And we've been in this society where we're so separate that we forget that in order to create real change, we also have to come together. We have, as humans, existed in tribes for thousands of years, but now it seems that we're so separate even in our own communities. And standing up and changing that takes the individual. I created a co-op in Riverside of all local artists in town, and we're coming together to create a comedy, that kind of raises women up spiritually and allows them to see their true power as spiritual leaders, because we haven't been seen as spiritual leaders next to men, when I truly think that women have this incredible ability to heal. The Egyptians, they used to go to war with a male leader, and then right after they would put a woman in charge to heal the community. And I feel that because we haven't allowed women to really become the healers that they are, we have this mass separation between the yin and yang, the male and female, that has been unable to connect. And the only way to change that is to stand up and say, hey, I'm going to create my own system with my community, maybe even my own economy, right? Like, I'm making a feature film that everybody in the community co-owns. And so if we all win, we win together, and that goes back into the community, and it sparks a million other projects that community members can use to raise each other up. And so I do think that it's possible in this world to do something, but the change starts with you. It doesn't just start with sitting there thinking that it's going to come, and it doesn't start with waiting on the money or waiting for this or that. Like, I run and jump, and I have so much faith. Even without the money, I run and I plan, and God brings it to me every single time. So I think that's another thing. We're so afraid to run and jump because we feel like we don't have the resources available to us, when we don't realize when we're on the path and receiving the downloads from God, God will always provide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Walt?
Hello, my name is Walt Russell. I did like to talk on the living tradition quite a bit. I'm going to perhaps depart slightly, sorry. With the National Guard being ordered in despite the mayor of LA not wanting it and the governor not wanting it, Trump is sending in the Guard as we speak, if not before us. And next Saturday there's going to be a celebration of Trump's birthday, plus something about the 250th anniversary. So he's bringing in tanks. I saw it this morning being rolled in to DC to help to make this celebration possible. I think this is rather frightening, so I would urge you next Saturday between 5:30 and 7:30, there will be a demonstration called No Kings. It's going to be a national event. It's going to be huge, and it's going to be between Mission Inn Street, and University Street along Market, sponsored by Indivisible, which put on the last major big demonstration about a month ago. I do urge you to consider it. Demonstrations do have an actual impact. It's been shown that Nixon was contemplating dropping a tactical nuclear weapon on either Laos or Cambodia, and the moratoriums where there was a demonstration first month, next month 2 days, and the next month 3 days, and so on, then the moratoriums were sufficient to cause him to change his plans. So it actually does have an impact when a massive numbers of people do turn out. I would urge you to consider this. Thank you.
Thank you, Walt.
Yeah, thank you, Walt, for mentioning that, because I did think about wanting to mention that earlier. If you are interested in learning more about the No Kings Rally, there is information again on our social justice webpage, uuchurchriverside.org/justice. There's info there about the No Kings Rally, and anything that's coming up that we think might be important that you might want to hear about is up there. So check it out for some upcoming events. And if you hear of anything that you think should be there, email socialjustice@uuchurchriverside.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam? Okay, anyone else?
Morning, I'm Nick, and I'm a Universalist, Unitarian. Bless you, Alec, for your talk. I thought it was well thought out and well planned, and certainly well delivered. It was a bit complex for me. I find I'm going to have to go back and view it a couple of times, but I appreciate the thoughtfulness and the breadth of what you brought to us today.
Make sure you say your name.
My name is Diane. Okay, I usually throw a lot of words out, but the only thing that's constant is change. And I've discovered that through my 39 times 2 age. Now, that's Jack Benny talking, and many of you don't even know who that guy was. All right, but I want to thank Alec and all of the folks that are here today. And please remember, actions speak louder than words. Words can corrupt, or words can lift. And if we work together towards a better tomorrow and keep action going, even in darker times, we can find light at the end of the tunnel. Because right now we're in a dark tunnel, in my opinion. And what I'm seeing around, and so many being impacted in such negative ways, is the time to activate, if we want to use the word love, or maybe the synonym, which is compassion, and we show it by what we do with each other. And we can join again to unite. Because united we stand, divided we fall. So we have to be flexible, in my opinion, and I loved hearing Alec present the diversity aspect of thought, and that we all are entitled to have our thoughts, but let's find common ground and let's act on it in a positive way. So that's what I wanted to say, and I love this message. Thank you, Alec. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Diane. Is there anyone in the sanctuary who wants to come up and share any thoughts? Okay, Adam, is there anyone online who would like to share anything with us? Okay, well, thank you for being here. I hope you got something out of the service that you can put in your heart and take with you for the rest of the week. So please join us for further fellowship and lunch before we come back to the sanctuary for our congregational meeting. Thank you.